Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. J&J vaccine booster shots come in. Jamaicans who receive the Johnson & Johnson vaccine will soon have access to booster shots, says Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton. He was responding to the jitters and concerns of the wider public that booster shots should be made available to vaccine-resolute individuals to eliminate the dumping of the commodity that the country has been doing when vaccines reach their expiry date. Of the roughly 2 million doses of vaccines that Jamaica has received to aid its fight against the novel coronavirus, approximately 15%, or about 300,000, have been dumped, ministry officials have said. The latest dump occurred on Tuesday, November 30th, with 130,000 doses of the AstraZeneca brand being dumped. The waste, which public health experts say is commensurate, while not desirable, with global standards of 10 to 30% discard rates, has been criticized by vaccine-resolute individuals. Dr. Tufton, however, cautioned that the justification for booster shots cannot be linked only to vaccine expiration dates. Offers of boosters have to be driven by research and the science, with the safety of Jamaicans being paramount, he noted. As of now, based on vaccines we have here, boosters have been recommended by the respective manufacturers and regulatory agencies for Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, but not AstraZeneca. For AstraZeneca, there is a recommendation for people who have compromised immune systems, like cancer patients, to get a third dose. The manufacturers of this brand are reviewing, but that's the current situation. I understand the drive for boosters for Astra, but it has not yet been recommended by the manufacturers. It would not be responsible to offer just because we have stocks that are soon to expire. That would make expiration date the criteria, not the safety of the citizens. Based on this premise, Dr. Tufton says the Health Ministry is prepared to offer boosters to Pfizer and is currently reviewing the feasibility based on availability of stocks and the period after taking the second dose when a booster is due, normally after 6 months. He added that not many Jamaicans have passed their 6 months after second dose as yet, so there is still some way to go before a booster is offered. Regarding the Johnson & Johnson vaccines, Dr. Tufton said that boosters can be given and there is enough stocks, so an announcement is likely to be made soon. He noted these issues are fluid, so we keep tracking and assessing and we are prepared to change as new information emerge, but always with the safety of the citizens in mind. Meanwhile, there are questions around whether the vaccines Jamaica dump could have been donated to neighboring countries. Permanent Secretary in the Health and Wellness Ministry, Dunstan Bryan, said it is dependent on the countries that Jamaica is donating to. That would be our Caribbean colleagues who are all in the same situation that we are in, where they have received donations as well as are trying to utilize as best as they can before expiration date. So most of the other countries are in similar situation like Jamaica, where they have vaccines expire on them and they have had to discard. We're all in the same state of the implementation, where we've hit the people who are willing to take, and we're not at the people who we have to convince to take, and so your uptake levels are going to be very low as you do the hard march to convince people to take, Bryan said. The Permanent Secretary further clarified that the close to 300,000 vaccines dumped were not purchased by the government, so to put a dollar figure on the waste was difficult. The vaccines we had to discard are vaccines that have been donated. Vaccines that we purchase with a shelf life of the actual date of manufacturing. For example, for the AstraZeneca, it has a shelf life of 6 months. Therefore, when we purchase AstraZeneca, the shelf life of it would be 6 months. So, none of it would have been due for the expiration anytime soon. But if we get it as donation, it would have been in the donating country for some time. For example, when we got the donation from United Kingdom in July, it had a 2-month expiration date, when the actual shelf life is 6 months, so we had 2 months to use a supply that would normally have resulted in a 6-month lifespan. The COVAX vaccines that we do receive we utilize because they are purchased vaccines and not vaccines that have close expiration dates. The vaccines that we get from these bilateral agreements are usually vaccines with close expiration dates because the donor country would have recognized that they would not be able to utilize the vaccines before expiration, and so they offer them for donations, and then it's up to the receiving country to do their best efforts to utilize them before the expiration date, Brian said. Sister of slain detective constable had advised her brother to retire.
I got a call last night around maybe 12 o'clock that my brother was shot somewhere up Spur Tree. I saw him 4 times yesterday because I am buying some material for the house. I was back and forth going to the hardware. So I saw him 4 times. The last time I saw him, it was after, I think it was after 8 last night. If it was after 8, it was after 7. I was passing and I stopped. I was in the car and I said to him, I saw him on the veranda. And I said to him, you know I'm going up tomorrow, and I was waving to him. And then, you know, I might just come out of the car and come over to him. And I came out and I came over to him, and he said to me that, what time flight you have? Because he normally take me to the airport. I said early, but my son is going to take me to the airport. And he said, okay, but me going on the road, me go do road. So he was on the veranda putting on his cologne. And I said, alright bro, when I reach up I'll call you. But after that I messaged him 9:26 and he respond to my text, and I messaged him probably about 4 minutes after, and he didn't respond. And I called him and he didn't respond. Then I get the call about after 11 p.m. and I went on the scene. I wasn't able to see him, and I just heard he was shot, and somebody else was there and he was shot too. The police did not give me any information. So I went to the police station this morning to collect his personal item, and they still didn't give me any information. It was too early to give us any information. So at this moment we're not clear what happened. My brother is the backbone of the family, especially for my mom. He was responsible for my mom totally, and he was a favorite of my mom. My mom called him her fine-foot son, or her police son, because she was proud of him. He take care of her. As I said, he's the backbone of the family. Most of us live overseas, so he took care of business here. About 2 months ago, my mom had COVID. All 6 family members in the house had COVID. She recovered. She was in Spanish town with one of my sisters. She recovered. Everyone in the house recovered, but only one went to the hospital, my sister's husband. My mom had to stay home and recover. She's 92 years old. When she went and get a negative COVID result, 2 days after, she had pneumonia. And my brother, I called him and I said, listen, you gotta go into Kingston, Spanish Town now for my mom, because I don't think she's doing well. Seems like she has some water on her lungs or something, because I let them have all of the equipment to test her. And he went immediately, and he lifted her up from the house, put her in the car, lift her up, take her in the hospital. And it was because of the swift movement of my brother, my mom survived.
How is she dealing with it?
We can't tell her. One of her sisters died last week, and we still haven't told her. My baby father died. 2 months now, and I haven't told her. Devon Richards become construction. We can't tell her. We can't let her know this. She's 92 years old. She will never know, because we're not going to tell her. As I said, my brother was the backbone of the family. When she came home from the hospital, he went for her. When she came home the first night, he was the only person here with her. And he's a boy, and he took care of her. He had her here for 2 months with her to recover. It's a big loss for us because he's the go-to person. He's the door. Yeah, the crime situation is really getting out of hand. I don't think enough has been done to secure our citizens of Jamaica. I think there's a lot more to be done, especially a police officer. And this hurts to know that we have to bury our brother at the hands of the gun. He spent, I think, probably nearly 30 years protecting the citizens of this country. And he did it proudly. Even when I said to him, it's time for you to retire. It is getting too bad. Most of us migrate. What are you doing? But he's still staying because he loved his job. He loved doing his.
He once eyed the JDF, now St. Ann Man, Hills, Naranda for personal growth. At age 19, after graduating from Knox College, Romario Grandison was steadfastly pursuing becoming a member of the Jamaica Defence Force JDF. He has gone through all necessary procedures and patiently awaited his life-changing call from the JDF, one he never received. At that time, the impressionable young man, after realizing months has passed without any word from the JDF, was eager to find a job and so as to finance himself. The Naranda Jamaica Backside partner provided that breakthrough for Grandison in 2015 when he was at his lowest. He has been employed as a ram spotter at the company's Water Valley location in St. Ann. I was in a position where I just wanted something to change my life. I was fresh out of sixth form, wasn't going to school anymore because I had so much faith that I would get the call from JDF, so I was there, Grandison reported. He learned about the vacant position from a member of his community who is employed by the company. A man in my community who was employed with them for years encouraged me to apply because I explained to him what I was going through at the time. So I sent in all the requirements and got called to the interview, and I stepped in there with faith because I knew I needed that job. It was just God who sent that call for me at the time, said Grandison. Being among the over 1,000 of people employed by the Backside Company in St. Ann, likewise, many of whom the company has positively impacted, the 26-year-old said he is wholeheartedly grateful for the opportunity. He, like many of those hired at the company, owned joined by the Jamaica government 51% and Concord Resorts Limited 49%, is optimistic that backside production in the area will continue amid objections by some who fear that mining will endanger life in the nearby cockpit country, despite repeated assurances by the company's manager that nothing of that sort will happen. Naranda is how I make my bread and can be able to provide for my family. So it is all gold for me. Where would I have been without them, he questioned. Though he has not completely ruled out his dream of being an army man, he is now focused on getting his best at Naranda and to ultimately grow. Dreams never die, so I wouldn't rule out a chance at going into the JDF, but I'm just here at Naranda, going through the process, and there is potential growth, and I am interested in growing and giving my best at all times, Grandison noted. The requirement of a ram stopper demands Grandison's service for 12 hours each day. He directs the trucks that are halting the backside where they should load off. I love my job because I have been gaining. I've learned a lot of stuff about how the machinery is used in the production works, and I'm fascinated by that. It also opened my eyes to a lot of stuff, so it is really a life-changing experience, he said. Growing up, I never saw myself working with them because, as I said, I had other plans for my life, but life happens, he added. Naranda Jamaica partners has been in existence for over 50 years, and according to Grandison, the company has continued to be a ray of hope for communities in St. Ann, especially in and around the Alexandria region. I wouldn't know what life would be without Naranda because they have done a lot. I can't imagine Alexandria and surrounding communities without Naranda. We live in communities that we don't have running water, and when it comes on to summer months, they truck water for the people, and they have like community netball, football, and cricket competitions promoting togetherness in the community, he reported. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.